The Blocktalk Podcast started because of my passion for the property management industry. I wanted to start a conversation and add some value within the industry with a diverse range of people and professionals who can add something extra. As we start out, my aim is that the podcast offers some useful insight into a variety of views, opinions, thoughts, and foresights from our guests, who include business leaders and industry experts. If you enjoy the podcast and want to find out any other information, head on over to brianwelsh.co.uk. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Blocktalk Podcast with me, Brian Welsh, and Jax Bruce. Jax, how are you doing?
I am well. Looking forward to Cubs tonight. Assistant Cub leader, so I do that every week, which is good fun. What about you? How are you doing?
I'm very well. I have just taken Arthur for a walk up the woods, and now hopefully I'm not going to sneeze in this podcast because I suffer very badly from hay fever. And I was speaking to my dad last night, and he was telling me that apparently the hay fever or pollen that's around at the moment is tree pollen. And he said to me, I've just moved house, he said he's not been here. And he said to me, do you live near any trees? I'm like, yeah, there's about 5,000 of them behind the house. And I take the dog walking there every day. So he is now, sorry, not my dad, Arthur is now lying on the couch beside me, having his afternoon nap. I might join him after this. So, anyway, thanks, Jax. Okay, today we'll have the pleasure of chatting with Zuzuna Klaskova, who is the Learning and Development Manager for the newly merged The Property Institute. Prior to the merger, Zuzana was the Training and Events Administrator for the IRPM, and before that, she worked in property roles as an estate manager and a property manager. Hi, Zuzana. Thanks very much for coming on today. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you.
Good. So your new role sounds like a bit of a promotion. Are you excited about it?
Yeah, I'm very excited. It is indeed a promotion that I'm very proud of. There is a lot of work ahead of me, but yeah, just bringing on.
Good. So tell us a bit more about the new role. How's it going so far? What's involved?
So the new role, basically, it's like a bridge between the qualifications and training. So qualifications being the formal courses with the big exam at the end of it, and training being less formal and usually focused on a specific topic. So my role is to make sure that they connect and they complement each other. And so I'll be working on development of our qualifications, updating them and changing them to make sure they fit the market, they provide what our members need, and also, working on training, making sure that we deliver that as well to support our members.
Okay, that's really interesting. So I just had to mute myself there because my dog decided to go mental. I don't quite know what it was. I think he saw something out the window, or somebody else is moving around in the house. So that's the role. What are the plans for learning and development at TPI?
Well, this merger is really big thing for us that will open the doors to wider audiences for us, and also will allow us to improve our offerings to our members on both sides. So one thing you will be interested in is our brand new factoring qualifications that we launched last year. So that's something that's already happened, and we have a few candidates who's already been through the course and passed the final exam, and the feedback was very, very positive. So we are very proud of that, because that's been long time coming, few years in development. We had Scottish academics who wrote it for us, and it was all overseen by our Scottish working group. So it's, perfectly built for our Scottish members. So that's one thing we're proud of that we've already done. And what's ahead is we are updating our syllabi for the leasehold qualifications at level 3 and 4. As a result of that, we will be updating and amending our course materials and also creating brand new course for the level 4 leasehold qualification. So that's one big chunk of work that we are focusing on at the moment and is the prime thing for this year. And then it will be, I guess, the more niche qualifications for smaller sectors within the housing market, like retirement or students' accommodation. And then is the training. So it's looking at ARMA offering an hours and see how we can connect the two, how we can make it accessible to our members, our individual members, property managers, and what we can do to make it better. So a lot of work ahead.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
I'm just picking up on your new the new factoring qualification for Scotland. I've heard a lot about that actually, and in fact, I know a couple of people have gone through it. And in fact, Nick Mail, who's the president of PMAS, Property Managers Association Scotland, spoke about it when we interviewed him on the podcast as well. And in fact, our professional services director in CPL wants our training and support people to go through the qualification as well. So, I mean, whilst we will not use, we're not managing property, it would be really good for our team who are interacting with our clients who are qualified or do this job every day. It would be useful then to kind of go through the qualification and understand, I guess, a day in the life of a property manager.
Yeah, that's absolutely, that's a brilliant idea, because you want to understand people who you're talking to, and the course is really wide and it covers loads of different topics connected to the factoring. So I think it will be applicable for more than just those who are looking after the properties, because it looks at health and safety, it looks at the history of property factoring, and so great news that you are also looking at it.
No, very, very much so. So we've had or have been having a lot of conversations about the need for educating owners and tenants, possibly about the role of property managers. Do you think that's the case in England? And if so, what do you think the solution is?
Well, as a ex-property manager, I'm really passionate about this, because I think it's very important, if not a key, especially in the leasehold setting, because it's so complex. And the role of the managing agents or property manager isn't always understood, or the role of the freeholder isn't always understood. So educating the owners it will be beneficial for them as well. It will empower them. They will understand what they're getting into when they buy in a leasehold property. And on the other side, property managers and factors as well in Scotland are having really difficult times at the moment with the cladding crisis and everything that it brought. So if the owners, the leaseholders, understood the role of the property manager, if they understood how leasehold works, it will make it much easier for everyone involved. The conversations will be different. The tension hopefully will be less. And what's the solution? I think there are few parties that play a role in bringing solutions to this. And I would say that solicitors are the first point of contact for people buying leasehold property. So they have their role explaining to them, what the leasehold is, what's their rights, responsibilities, what is service charge, why they are required to pay that, and what it includes. And I bought property myself, and I didn't need to have that conversation, but nobody asked me, nobody tried to explain. So I think solicitors would be the first one to bring as part of the solution. And then it would be the managing agents and the property managers themselves. They could have like educational documents, or they could signpost their clients and customers to resources that would educate them. They could provide them with materials. And then it would be third-party institutions like us. And I think our role would be very important in that as well, because very often a property manager might try to explain or educate their clients and customers, but they won't listen because they are the bad guys who might try to trick them into something. So if they had independent place to go to for information, I think that would be great. And it's conversation we've already started at TPI. I need to get used to saying that. So we already have a page for directors, residence management companies, directors or leaseholders. It's still very brief, but it's something we will build on, and we should definitely build on. And I would be pushing that or championing that. And also ARMA has a course for leaseholders or residence management companies directors. So there are resources available, there are things happening, but there is still a lot of educating that needs to happen.
Yeah, no. That's really interesting, actually, because one of the things that has come out of the previous podcasts we've done with kind of leaders in management companies that we've spoken to is one perception of who they are, and kind of changing that perception of who a factor is and what they do, but also the education as well of the people buying into that property. I can't remember who it was that when we did a podcast with, but they said that two areas of people that they really struggle with are first-time buyers and people who are downsizing, because these people have never heard of a property factor or a block manager or property manager, whatever you want to call it, before, because they've never had any need to live in that kind of world, and so actually it can come as a bit of a shock. And what you say about, the solicitor is there to effectively transact the purchase or the conveyance of the property. I guess they're not really there to advise on leasehold. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a solicitor, and I don't understand that part of the conveyancing process. But yeah, there certainly needs to be a point somewhere where someone understands the ramifications of purchasing a house that has is as either a leaseholder or an owner occupier that has common areas in Scotland. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree that solicitors have their, specific role to carry out the legal transaction, but also, they are solicitors who knows better about leasehold law than solicitors, I guess. So, they could do more, I think. But yeah, definitely. And what we see and the feedback we receive from property managers is there seems to be divide between them and us, that the two sides of are being created, and one doesn't trust each other and is suspicious. So that's not going to help anybody. I think they are all trying to achieve the same thing. For example, make the building safe. For example, make the building maintain. So I think better understanding would make things better.
Yeah. It's good points. So do you think the industry needs more qualification options? Are there enough kind of, I guess, entry-level qualifications? And is there some kind of view on continuing professional development?
Well, as far as I'm aware, it's only IRPM who offers the specific qualification for property managers in England. I guess there is room for more. I think we are doing fine. At the moment, we're not asking for competition, but I think it's inevitable that it will happen, especially if the qualifications become compulsory. There will, more players will enter this market, and I think it will be good. It will. I think it's good for customers to have more choice, and it will drive us to be better, to deliver, better products if they need to be improved. So competition is good.
Mm-hmm. I think so. We touched on solicitors earlier. Solicitors, surveyors, all these sort of people, they have to do their kind of CPD per year and the professional development every year. So I guess if it does become compulsory that people need to do these qualifications, then CPD would become an obvious part of that beyond that as well. So
that's the plan, that CPD will become compulsory as well. And again, that would be a good thing, because especially in the housing sector, things change very often. It could be anything connected with legal issues, finance, health and safety, contractors, monitoring, or it could be loads of different things that affect property management. So CPD is crucial, is important. But I think there are loads of opportunities for property professionals to access CPD. We have free CPD courses for our members on the website that they can access any day and night with internet connection. And I think it's similar for other institutions. There are many events taking place during the year, and I think property manager's job is one long CPD, because there is always something new happening that you have to research or study or find out about. So it never hurts to have more CPD, but I think there is plenty to access at the moment already.
Okay, cool. So last of my questions for you before Jax gets onto hers. So what do you think the most important qualities are for a successful property manager?
First, I'll say that it is a fantastic job. I left it a few years ago, but it is a fantastic job. There is just so much you can learn. It gave me so much knowledge and experience, and for my own personal life as well. But it's not for everyone. I think what you need to have to be successful property manager is thick-skinned resilience, because you come up against loads of different issues. The workload is usually heavy, and unfortunately, not everyone uses the kindest words, either in writing or in spoken language. And then you need to be able to prioritize, you start your day with a plan, and then something happens and your plan goes out of the window, and you need to change your priorities for the day. And you need to have very good people skills. You need to be able to stick to your word. If you say something you will do, you need to do it. And if not, you need to communicate it to your clients and customers. And that's the way you will earn their trust as well. And that's, I think, one of the most important things for a property manager, is to be able to gain your clients or customers' trust. So, you can have good relationship with them, and then you can achieve something without, tearing your hair out.
That's okay. Okay, that's great. That's really useful. That's been really useful. Thank you. So, Jax, over to you for your 3 quirky questions and your laptop that's about to fly out the window.
Thanks, Susanna. So at the end of the podcast, we ask all our guests 3 quirky questions, and the first one is, what's your biggest failure across your entire career, and what did you learn from it?
Well, thank you for giving me heads up on this one, because I did have to think about it. But I think the one, I don't know if it was my biggest failure, but it was the first one that happened at the beginning of my property management career. And I managed a block at the time. It was a small block with underground car park, and there was water leaking into the car park. And I met with a contractor on site, and they suggested a solution. And I was, inexperienced, knew nothing about buildings, or very little. And I thought, okay, well, they've done this before. I'm sure they know what they're talking about. Let's just go with that, what they're saying. And but there was that niggling feeling at the back of my mind, thinking, oh, I don't know if it's right. And then they went ahead with the job, and they did it. And I was like, oh no, what have I done? This is not going to work. And I was terrified, because I spent money that didn't belong to me. It wasn't much. It was, I think, around £1,000. Well, still a lot. And I was just terrified what I'm going to do. And I spent a weekend worrying about it. And I thought, okay, I'll just have to pay for it. And on Monday, I went to see my boss, and I explained what happened. And I told him I'll pay back for it. I'll pay back. And so he spoke to me, and he said, well, why don't you just bring the contractors back and get them do this or that, and it will fix the problem. It will be fine. And I did that, and it was fine. And my lesson from that was, just because I don't have years of experience, it doesn't mean that I can't, speak to the contractor and tell them, no, you are wrong. I don't think this is going to work. We need to do something. Yeah. And that stayed with me, throughout my property management life. So yeah, but it was a painful lesson. I tell you, I remember this weekend forever, I think.
That was with you forever by the sounds of it.
Yes.
Cool, thank you. So the next question is, if you ruled the world for a day, Susanna, what would you do?
I'm afraid I'm going to give the obvious answer to this one, because I'm in Slovakia at the moment, and Ukraine is just to the east of us. So it will be the world peace I'll order if I rule the world. And just stop everyone behaving silly.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Cool, thank you. And the final question is: when you're 70 and look back at your life, what will you be glad you did or feel proud of? Either something you've done already or something that you still want to achieve?
I think on a personal level, I will be proud of myself for managing to establish myself in a completely foreign country. I know that millions done it, but when I moved, I wasn't sure whether I would be able to. So I'm very proud of what I've achieved. And on a professional level, I always looked for a job, and this is gonna sound cheesy, I'm sorry, where there will be, something left behind me. My very first job was a receptionist, and nothing against receptionist, but I need something tangible to leave behind. So that was property management for me, and now it is my learning and development job, where I could create things, qualifications, and training that will make somebody's lives better.
Yeah, excellent, cool. So how long have you been living in London?
I moved in 2005, so
oh wow,
that's 14 years.
You really have settled in then. Brilliant, thank you, Ryan.
Well, Zuzana, thank you so much for coming on. That's been really, really interesting, telling us about the course and everything. If anyone wants to get in touch with you about the courses available, how would they do that?
They could email us on our email, info@irpm.org.uk.
Okay.
They can refer to me, and the email will be passed on to me. So I guess that's the easiest way.
Excellent. Thank you very much for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you.